we're going to take a look at ordinate dimensions. The first thing I like to do is go to my Preferences, Drafting, and when I go down to the ordinate, so Dimension, Ordinate, I like to turn on the ordinate set name. At least for this demonstration, it'll make it a little bit easier for us to see. We'll hit OK, and then I'm going to add an ordinate dimension. You'll notice that by default, it starts with a single dimension. So if I choose a center, then I start to choose my next. You'll notice it says Activate Baseline. I could choose Perpendicular, and it would place those dimensions. I'll just drop them. What oftentimes happens is we've added some ordinate dimensions, and we want to add more. How do we do that? I'll click back on Ordinate, and you'll notice as I bring my mouse over that kind of gray looking circle becomes purple, and that just activates this ordinate dimension. I'll choose to add, and from here there's a couple interesting things. So the top 25, that's good, but this bottom one that's on my cursor, not as well. You can see it's jogged it. Really, it's a duplicate dimension. So maybe I'll just turn that one off and place. If I want to have an additional ordinate set, I'll go Ordinate, I'll pick a new, and grab a couple, and I can place these ones as well. Now here's the interesting thing. I've got Ordinate 2, Ordinate 1. If I want to add additional, and I click Ordinate, you can see they both kind of highlight, but really it's just a matter of selecting the origin point, and then that lets me activate one ordinate over the other. Let me do a couple undos. Next, we're going to add ordinate dimensions again, but this time we're going to do it much lazier. I'm going to go multiple dimensions because that's more typical of what we would do. I'm going to choose the origin. I want to choose the objects. And you'll notice we get a little warning. I'm going to add Activate Perpendicular. And now it's saying, hey, wait a second, you need to define your margins. We could have done this on the single dimension as well. But to define the margins, I'm basically just choosing a point. So in this case, the bottom left. And then we're saying, how far off of that do we want our first dimension to be? So 40 is a bit much. I'm going to change it to 30. And then there's a couple other things. Do we want duplicate dimensions? Do we want to reposition existing? No, we'll just leave it as is. And there in one shot, we've got all of those dimensions. You could go in and change the spacing or add a jog, all the typical dimension tools that you have. The last thing I'll show though is, we might say, well, I don't really want this ordinate anymore. So you could hide it. If you delete it, so we don't want to just delete this. Instead, I'm going to double click on it, and I could change it to none, and there's our ordinates. If we want to go and add any additional, again, it's just activating that. There we can see our baselines. We can add them, and we're good to go.